So let me then, before we depart, a few words I think that will follow on quite nicely from that, about what this all means and sort of where we go from here, which has to do with this question of general sapience, which comes from the For Planetary Governance essay, and also you've mentioned it in here as well, and it might be worth sort of defining this a little bit, because this in many ways kind of goes to the core of what we mean by both the planetary and the governance in one way or another. But first, what I was to do is, I think that to make the point that to talk about this question of modes of futurity and governance, there's a point of distinction between the utopian mode of thinking and I think what we're up to here, both in the sense that of a utopian mode of thinking was a kind of trying to work backwards from idealizations, and then and then forward from the purification of those idealizations, but also in the topos of the utopia, that the topography and the terrestriality of the topos, I think in the work that we've seen today is productively decentered. And I think if we pull something from this, this might be the thing. But lastly, then, for this question of a for planetary governance and why for planetary governance and for general sapience might be in many ways the same thing, I'll invite your indulgence to just walk us through this paragraph also written from the provocation, and I'll leave you with this: that intelligence remakes itself by remaking the planet. Its specific talents for social organization based on communicable abstractions and technical mediation is not just something that happened on the Earth. Intelligence and its technicity and its abstractions are all things that the Earth does. Over millions of years, this particular planet has folded itself in such a way to form mammalian brains, and through them diverse forms of cunning and reason, including those of the human, which eventually came to ascertain its uniqueness, its aloneness in the astronomic neighborhood. Space became space. It began to understand itself in space rather than space as heaven. It's not only capable of remaking the planet in the image of its industries, both petty and mighty, but also to comprehend and conceptualize the significance of this fact. And now, so it has come to a fork in a very long road. Is the revelation of its position of agency, what we call the Anthropocene colloquially, a cause for the abdication of that power, given the destruction that the angel of history retroactively surveys? Or is this revelation of consequences a kind of threshold of maturation, after which this intelligence, which is a human intelligence because of planetary intelligence, might now finally be able to act back upon the planet with care, precisely because it now bears the ponderous weight of its precarious isolation? Finally, then, there's no way to approach the question of planetarity without considering with wonder that we are an embedded species capable of mapping its own astronomic isolation, but also, again, contemplating the significance of that isolation. We would recall that the idea that our universe was teeming with life, even our solar system, persisted in the scientific community even until the 1970s. But it's a hope that's largely been dashed. It's been replaced by variations of the rare Earth hypothesis that suggest not only that advanced technological civilizations are rare, but that life itself is incredibly rare. It is incredibly unlikely that we would find ourselves in this moment. It's unlikely that this moment would even be a thing. What's not entirely unlikely, unfortunately, is the extinction of the only species that we know of that is capable of understanding this moment as a moment in this way. That species realizes not only that it can compose itself, but that if such an awareness and understanding as such is going to survive into the deep time of the future, then it must compose itself and its condition. And that, in essence, is the definition of governance to which we should aspire, not simply the exercise of public authority, though that too, but the exercise of collective reason, or more specifically, what we would call a general sapience that is inclusive of human intelligence, but machinic, technical, and animal intelligence as well. Planetary governance is, or should be, the exercise of our capacity for collective self-composition, not just of the planet, but indeed as the planet. So with that, we will bid everyone a good day or a good night. Thank you to those who made it through the full 3 hours and 45 minutes of our interim showcase. Once more, if you go through the links in the Google Doc, you'll find much more to read and watch and engage with. Our URL of the terraforming.strelka.com is where you'll find all of the relevant information for applying for next year, for example. As mentioned, at the end of July, we'll have our big public final research showcase, which will be projects that will have been developed over a matter of months, not weeks, and we invite everyone back for that. Thanks once more to the Berggruen Institute and to those of you who, and welcome to those of you who joined Strelka from the Strelka discourse from that community. Thanks to Niels and Jonathan for their involvement and their participation, as well to Holly Jean Buck and to Ben Cerveny as well for giving us such excellent signposts and bookends for the work that we've done. We're very grateful for your involvement and participation. So with that, we'll say goodbye. We'll be the cohort will be convening in Yerevan in Armenia in just a few days and beginning work on the final projects from there as well. And so look forward to seeing everyone in person. And until then, thanks again. We'll see you soon.